Hi everyone, this is Prashad Parthiban. Today I am going to take a session on generative AI use cases in delinquency process. What do you mean by delinquency? In billing, if the customer is not going to pay a payment on time, we give them some grace period, which means we give them 20 days or 15 days. Still, if the customer do not make a payment, we trigger this delinquency process, which has a list of events. Say you send a reminder letter or you send a notice of cancellation. If still the customer is not going to make a payment, you cancel the policy for non-payment. In this workflow also, generative AI can be very useful. Let's look at few important use cases. The first one is predicting delinquency probability, right? Most of you know, it's a very tedious process when you create a delinquency workflow. You have to go to each event and close it, and then if you want to reopen it takes time. So the best thing that you can do with AI is you can look at the past historical data for a customer, and if the system can recommend saying this customer has a potential possibility of going to delinquency. If that is the case, you can send a notification to customer to make a payment on time, otherwise delinquency will be triggered. This way you can avoid the delinquency upfront. Second thing is triggering dynamic workflow. Most of you are working in delinquency, we trigger static events in each delinquency workflow, like trigger the delinquency, send the reminder letter, right? And then check for equity, and then send the notice of cancellation. With AI, you can dynamically create an event based on each customer. Say if you have a customer, you create a reminder letter, and if the customer is in a flood area, you don't want to send immediate notice of cancellation, right? You want to send one more reminder letter for them. So this is how AI can help. Based on the customer profile, you can dynamically configure the event instead of having static event for each delinquency workflow. Sentiment analysis is a very important factor, because when the policy is delinquency, those customers may not be happy. They may provide their feedback. It is important to read this feedback, and if it's valid feedback, it's important for the insurance company to work on it. Otherwise, they can lose many customers based on the existing customers' feedback. Collection agency success percentage. Most of you know one of the critical event in delinquency workflow is after certain event, if the customer is not going to make a payment, you send it to collection agency. Those are the agencies who further work with the customers to collect the payments. Now with the AI, what you can do is you can look at the success rate for the past 3 years or 4 years for a particular delinquency workflow. And based on the success rate, you can determine if you really need this event to be part of the delinquency, or for certain customers, it doesn't make sense to have collection agency. So based on the historical data, you can determine it dynamically. As I told you, there are many use cases when it comes to delinquency. I just thought of covering some of the primary use cases that I think will be helpful. Thank you for your continued support. Have a great day. Bye-bye.